So here's a question. If you're standing too long in one spot, how do you get out of that?
You wiggle and twist and break the suction and and go. We got a lot of polluted areas, and we got to clean them up. I said, there's no shame in having polluted areas. The shame is not cleaning them up. And one mistake, a bad experience, cost you.
This is like a multi-million-dollar industry down here. The things we take for granted, and the things these people around me here take for granted, it's eye-opening.
You had to have a license. He grabbed his rollers and run for the ledges and stood there. When's it coming?
Because I'd love to break that stigma of drugs and alcohol use and everything that falls back on the clammers, and we're not all like that. You say, I'm a clam harvester. Oh, tell me more. Well, we farm the ocean. Oh, tell me more.
Yep.
If you say, oh, I'm a clam digger.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a physical job,
Very.
but I said it's an enjoyable job.
Yeah.
And because in roughly 3 hours, that's your work time.
Yep.
You ain't got to answer to some boss for 8 hours.
So Rebecca was telling me about the tide coming in. Did you ever get trapped when you were a kid? Did
No.
it catch up to you once?
There's an old fella across the river there. You see a big ledge sticking out, and he was digging. And another older fella said, "You want to be careful here. The tide comes in here quite fast." Well, you stand there and it slowly works out. He grabbed his rollers and run for the ledges, and stood there. When's it coming? I said, come on back down. You got plenty of time. It'll just inch up on your boots, and you got plenty.
Even on I-95?
Well, all he could picture was a tidal wave coming.
Yeah.
Last winter, that fellow that got drowned up there in the canoe. I said, oh, that's
Sad.
it is. And every once in a while, you lose somebody, and I said, inexperience. There was inexperience.
Yeah.
And one mistake, a bad experience, cost you.
Like, you always keep an eye on, who's digging where. You should. I mean, if some clam diggers don't, they need to learn that lesson and start paying attention.
Right over on that corner, quite well up the honey pot.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody could walk into.
So it's dangerous.
I mean, it's not,
Explain that to me. What?
like a
Sauce.
spring hole.
Quicksand.
Yep,
Oh.
you'd be walking right along, suddenly
Whoa.
you're here. I mean, there's a lot of things, and I said, I've had people over the years ago, sunstroke.
Oh man, yeah,
Yeah,
it is
it's
hot.
I mean, when it's hot, I mean, you watch them and if they kind of look delirious or whatever, you all right?
Yeah, mid-July when the sun's right here and you're out here
And
on the
they'll
tide.
say, oh, get them in the water. Yeah, get cooling down.
Good point.
So we can get off.
Circles are wormholes, like
I'll see what those over
that
here
would
in the
be
creek.
probably a wormhole. But the oval ones are where the clams are. Now he would be what you call a seed clam because he wouldn't make the measure. He's too small. He'll fall right through. So they have to be 2 inches or larger to keep. We'll throw him back.
Yeah.
Like, I've had 2 kids, but to be physically exhausted after the tide, it doesn't compare to anything. I've run a half marathon. I've done some pretty draining things, but taking a tide is. If you don't bring water and snacks, they always make fun of me because I bring a cooler of
You're
drinks.
mom.
And, yeah, I'm mom down here. I'm the only female digger in Jonesboro.
No kidding.
I've tried to encourage people, other females, to come down here, and they don't want to. Jonesboro has been a gold mine, but it all falls back on the work that my father did and the work that my late grandfather did, John Cox Sr., through the Downeast Institute with Brian Beal, and through the 4-H. They had a clam hatchery up here years ago, and it all trickles back. Like, Dad did work that my generation will see, and hopefully I'll do work that the next generation will see, and you just got to keep looking ahead.
Like the top 5 tips for somebody that wants to dig clams. Are there top 5 things to think about, or 3, or?
Well, first of all, you got to have a license. We sell recreational licenses. and commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them will come, and I said, well, we try to have a map so you know where closed areas is.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you go, accessibility is, we've lost a lot about accessibility. New people come in, buy the property, no interested. You got to have a hoe, and in fact, you can reach down in soft mud and pick them out. But you need a 2-inch measure because that's state and town. There's a warden across the river. They call me. They said, we got somebody over there. We got 3 people digging. Well, I went down to the edge of the woods, put my binoculars. I looked out. One of them had a barn shovel. The other one had a paper bag. And the younger fellow, he was just,
Getting
I
stuck.
sit there. Well, the barn shovel, you know, like, he had quite a job. Well, they get through a clam or 2, put it in the bag. Well, I'd watch. Well, the bag got wet. I went to clam. They kept, complain unfounded because I got to get out of here before I go hysterical. And that's loaded with clam seed. That needs to come out of here because it really will never get big enough. Probably in 6-7 years, but they got to be turned over. That taken right there and put it on that middle ground. 1.5 years, we got this stuff.
Wow.
I said, you've got $1 million piece of glass down there.
Are we standing on middle ground?
No. This is all shore.
Ah.
The middle ground's up in the middle of the river where there's one channel goes this way, another one.
Ah, okay.
And it's soft, easy mud. They pull them. I said, you guys got to concentrate on farming this.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of clams there now, but they get down and get 2 or 3 bushel. I used to come out of there years ago, 11 3-packs.
Wow.
I'm trying to tell you what the potential is.
Yeah.
Now, you see the little clams, all in the holes? That's seed clams.
I got a few.
That's the problem. There ain't enough harvestable here.
Yeah.
This is the seed. This seed needs to be out. Then it'll seed back in another the next
Boy,
year or
look
2.
at them all. So moving them to another bed, huh?
To a softer, to an area where it don't come off 1 week of the month. That means that they're feeding. High growth rates, quick return. A lot of these towns, they say they're doing conservation. You ain't. I'm sorry, but you ain't. You're just doing enough to cover your ordnance.
Short-term thinking seems to be a problem with a lot of industry.
And I think you grow up with it and you learn to appreciate it more. And yes, you see the quick money, but you also see the real value in it and how blessed you are.
Yeah. Because you're basically the 3rd generation of clam.
Yeah, 3rd generation lobster fisherman and 3rd generation clam digger. I'm out of breath from digging.
Well, it's like a symbiotic relationship. I don't know if that's the right word, but you've got the people who get the clams, the people who buy them from the clammers, and then they sell either to another broker or to the market direct.
Right.
Because you can't do it all.
No.
If you were selling, you couldn't be digging.
And I've been after the diggers say, well, how come we start out like in March and April with $1.10 a pound, and suddenly we're up to $3.40 a pound? And I said, you could have a regular price, but you got to find a spokesman to go back and sit with the dealers and say, what's your supply and demand? If they got a market, say, for $3 year round, but suddenly the digger's going to bring in all kinds of clams, they got to find another market, so they got to keep the price down to open that, to find that market. You people don't understand the market end. But, because I'm looking ahead at potential.
Yeah.
We got 20 some odd people, and I said, that's 20 some odd jobs if you look at it.
Sure.
This town is employing.
Yep.
We've had clammers in the past come and just wipe sections of the clam
Well,
flats.
they get a year license. I'm gonna clean all I can clean.
They go hard because they only know they
And
have a year.
So eventually there'll probably have to be a cap, right, where you can't dig more than a bushel.
Oh, that opens a whole new can of worms because what is it? A couple months ago we had a 3 bushel limit and it made everybody in the town mad. We got threatened with lawsuits. Ridiculous, right? So there was a lot of backlash towards Dad. A lot of pinpointing, which is not necessary. He's only looking out for the fellow clammers on the clam flats, but it boils down to greed. And that was a full house. I was zoomed in on that meeting because I couldn't attend, and that room up in the town office was packed. And the bushel limit got increased to 5. And I kid you not, the next meeting you go up there, there'll probably not be a soul in the room. 5 bushel, because they don't care anymore. It's not
Today.
Going back to today, it's what they can see. You put a 3 bushel limit on, and you're looking towards the future.
Why we got into 3 bushel? I got the state landings. All right. We've lost in 3 years. We've lost 100,000 pounds.
It's huge.
Now wait a minute. Any business is going to say, "Whoa."
Right.
Got to cut that loss.
I said any business would shut down and find out what the problem is. We went with the 3 bushel limit until we could find out what was going on. Well, they got up in arms. There's plenty of clams down there.
And there's not. It's sad. I dig over on the western shore, and I kid you not, there's no clams unless you want to take this clam hoe and you want to go way up in the hard mud with the shells and the rocks, and you want to work twice as hard. But everyone else will say there's enough clams over there. And I'm telling you right now, there's not. And it's heartbreaking. On the path to doom and clam industry dry up in Jonesboro, and it's sad. And unless more people join on our side and take the point of view and really step back and look at the broad horizon and stop looking, you know, at the end of the day, how much am I taking home versus, okay, I look in the future, unless they cross that line and join us, we're not going to make progress.
And so you're working with the clam diggers, but maybe the clam eaters need to be made aware that, hey, you better enjoy that clam because it could be your last one if you don't get along.
How far are you going to hang on to the sustainable resource?
Right. And going back to like Facebook, like I was saying, I hate being behind that, but we have the page Cox Trap Shop, and I take videos, hyperlapse, and it takes the whole tide and zooms it into 3 minutes.
Wow, how cool.
And I put it out there for the world to see. Hey, do you know where your fried clams come from that you dip in your tartar sauce?
How neat.
This is where it's coming from, and these are the people who are doing it. Most people don't know that, and they don't see that. So it opens up a whole new
view.
Chapter and view.
Where your food is coming from.
Right.
What's the name of the website again?
Cox Trap Shop on Facebook.
Okay.
It's our family business. It's our plan B, kind of C, D, E, and F.
Do you have an HTML site, or is it Facebook only?
We do have a regular website. It's coxtrapshop.com.
Okay.
I was working in a 5th grade classroom. Loved it. But at the time I had no ocean. I couldn't do what I normally do. And it was heartbreaking. This one little girl, I remember, 5th grader, comes up to me, Miss Cox, I've never been to the ocean.
Wow.
And I'm like, what?
This was in Iowa?
Yes. And it hit me right in the feels. Like, how blessed was I to grow up in this and take it for granted and want to move away. And that's when I think it hit me that I want to come back here. I want to come back where I can go down here. Yes, it's hard work, but it's so rewarding to dig in this mud. Sometimes I like to go alone and just be out here and listen to nothing. Sometimes I'll cry. Sometimes I'll get angry. Sometimes I'll just be happy and joyous, but I'll come off the clam flats a whole new person. And it's better than paying for therapy. It really is. Like, you come off and you're a whole new person. Some of my greatest ideas in my life that are yet to happen have come off these clam flats. But when that little girl said, Ms. Cox, I've never been to the ocean, it hit me right in my gut. Like, the things we take for granted and the things these people around me here take for granted, it's eye-opening and daunting. Like, yeah.